Kim also tries not to look at the pile of tape viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack.
No problem, officer.
The porter reel is just what you needed. The reels attach to the apparatus with a satisfying push, command set, and the tape starts spinning.
This isn't Revachol. This is a fucking village. I can almost see the elephants.
The harbor. That's the son of a Kvalson crane.
When this shit is done, I'm gonna tear that place up. Soldier of the Apocalypse style. Kill shit. Dogs and chickens too. Gonna run a room, Cordy. A real nice room. I'll fucking do them all in. Rape that disco cunt on the counter. You know, the dance a whore upstairs. Do it cohoy. Never did get that taste out of my mouth.
The lieutenant presses the button marked Arrête on your porter reel. The tape stops spinning.
A village on the Samaran Isla, in South Safre. Grad committed war crimes there.
The South Safre conflict is an ongoing proxy war between Grad and Safre. It has been hot for 12 years, with the atrocities piling on, mostly committed by the Grad.
Who knows? Maybe the tattoos would have an answer. Or maybe Kohoy is just merc talk for atrocity, slaughter.
A symbol of soldier of the apocalypse style conduct in a civil environment.
End of recording. It seemed authentic enough. Probably recorded off the shortwave, then edited to seem more incriminating. He sounded like he was on patrol around the harbor walls. Still,
there's more going on here than we know.
One of the other mercenaries, I think. The one he was talking to. A friend of his? I think we've got a few more questions for Klaasje, don't you? This seems to contradict her testimony.
Officer, what brings you up here in the rain?
She puts her coffee cup down. This does not surprise her.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intent.
She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused.
Where did they...
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via a de-encryption station. It's all...
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style? Yeah. That was practically his pickup line. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Kohoi style? He wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Kohoi. It wasn't his everything. No, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, and then had to internalize them to keep on living, until they just sort of turn into his, what's the running joke? I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way. He was like the Seminoles conflict, the Kohoi massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezud all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. Afraid of what? That tape the Hardy Boys recorded? Your mother probably never told you this, but girl, had I the physical robustness and social support, I'd be in Kohoi. I would be tearing it up Soldier of the Apocalypse style.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed happy, I guess. At ease.
There is a small measure of pride in her that she could quell the rage. What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for detail.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now.
She takes a very small sip of her coffee.
Like, for example...
Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lely.
A nickname?
I guess. He came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of...
Lelystad. That's a good start. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town.
The Lelystad municipality has few boroughs and even fewer cities. It's made of agricultural plots near the border of Gottwald. Executive summary: cows, silos, and wheat.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was occidental, not mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes. We were compatriot.
Did that bring you together?
No. He was too old for that. And from another part of Oranjenrek. I didn't even understand his accent.
No love for Mother Oranje. But wasn't he a soldier? This could be worth pursuing.
No. He left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Seminine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person. A small platoon leader. Certainly not a patriot. There is nothing on Muindi. The old world is dead, and we both knew it. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me, too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have.
He had many scars that made him appear older. We even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days.
Looks like you were right, officer.
The young woman looks at you. She's clearly sensing something. A spike in testosterone levels, perhaps.
Blue. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange. See, pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Oh, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone. Oh, that.
It's clear she liked it.
Quite a lot, yes. It was a map of his life and the places he visited as a soldier. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason.
Is this Orani's lit?
He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloth." And so it goes. Star after star. Port after port. Third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh yeah. No thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Orania needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people on the Seminine Islands, and on other islands too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps? Why do you ask? Well, it's wrong. He had too many drinks to down and too many bad things to do. Couldn't tap out just...
Everything checks out here. It's all A-OK. Good answer.
All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the... How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. What lies beneath? You could ask either one of them.
Huh? How old? 58. He was deceased. He had been decomposing for a week. On the bright side, you've been getting a lot of exercise lately.
There's silence. Then, here it comes.
Sure, you're 42.
Wait. This requires scientific measurements. To the laboratorium.
Yes?
The clouds are still hanging around. What is it now? Anne. That fucking fucker. You're the worst cops in Revachol.
That fucker wasn't aimed at you. It was at her.
Dark. Dark is when you start a goddamn death rock band. He said he'd rape her.
Sounds like he wanted it to change her mind about the hanged man. This is definitely personal.
What did she have to say then? Fine by her? This is what people are supposed to be like? Fucking whoop-de-doo.
Yes. In fact, I think she thought it was a little funny.
Funny? No good goddamn son. Right. Oh, fucking righty then. I get.
Please try to control yourself in the presence of visitors, Titus.
This is just perfect. Just fucking perfect.
You don't have to say everything out loud. Just mix and match.
Yeah.
He does not sound very convinced anymore.
Yeah, they're all queers. Can't bump, hard fist, or anything.
That's all right, Glenn. I just thought, Chief. I thought anyone.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
He wanted her to see the man for what he was. Now that you know, you might want to lay off this topic, or else you might antagonize him.
I just got too worked up. Big man lost his shit. It's cool now. I already told you. We fucking hanged him.
There's less gusto in his voice now. His men too. They're confused. This is growing.
Come on, Titus. It's been a long day. I'm tired of running back and forth between you. I can see you're tired too. Why don't you just...
You know what? I am tired. I'm tired of you. Next time you see her, tell her Titus said, "Fuck on!" That lying, scamming. We're done. This is over. You understand? Yeah. What is this quiet funeral shit? What we need is some beers in us. Bartender!
Why do we make it 40, huh? Why do we make it 100 beers? You're not loud enough.
100 beers? Now we're talking. Hoppity hop over here, cafeteria manager.
It's you again. What is it?
Convince Titus he's being manipulated. You should know by now. Titus Hardy will never falter. Just remember, it's about more than Klaasje. It's about these men and Martinez, their district, their responsibility. Huh? He'll get it. Go on.
Got it. Kill you because they don't like you. All because...
Bring that up one more time, and you won't get to write that report.
Yes, I understand, Alain. That's your name, right, Alain? You'll kill us. That's what they do in the Wild North.
It wasn't that. It wasn't... We just couldn't get him down, okay?
That's it. That's the weak one. You flushed him out. Now go in for the...
Officer, you will be next if you don't shut up.
He's onto you. He knows what you're trying to do. Steel yourself. Push on. Just ignore Theo.
We didn't kill him. We didn't even hang him. He was dead when...
Shut up, Angus!
Fatty! Say one more thing to the cops and I'll...
Dennis, stand down, or I'll beat your head in. Theo, take your hand off the belt. This isn't 31. I've got this. Angie, where's your goddamn inhaler?
I left it home. I can't get it. I'm too fucked. I'm sorry.
Why are you so fucking fat, Angus? Now it's all pointless. Because of you. You wasted my time. I told you, Titus. I told you just give her up.
Lizzie, your help is no longer needed here. Go tell Everard.
Fine. I'll tell him. After a long walk along the coast.
What just happened between these two? You're in. He's all yours. Questions?
Not yet. Just some ideas. She says the shot came from outside, behind the window somewhere. So that's a clue. I'm thinking someone's past caught up with them. Either hers or his.
Hers, you mean?
She's got one of those checkered pasts. The shot could have missed. Could have been meant for...
I like that. Been thinking the same thing myself.
Amandou. One of those mercenary buddies of his could have done it. They got guns. Training. Years of bad blood, probably. Or it could have been someone else from Crenell. Tell you what I'd do. Check out the coast for vantage points. Maybe consult with a ballistics buddy of mine. That's what I'd do. If I wasn't too busy doing this clown dance with you.
He's calm now. Threw all that turmoil away and became himself again. He nods.
You hanged the corpse to cover up the real cause of death. What was it?
not sure. Probably a bullet. Because the girls asked us to. They were in some shit.
Girls plural? There's another girl? 2 of them?
Did she kill him?
Cop, I have no idea. The girl...
He doesn't think she did. Or at least he hopes she didn't.
Klaasje came down. She seemed really out of it. Drugged up, even more than usual. Bug-eyed and gurning, you know? Not in a fun way. It looked like she'd redosed after something went down. I've seen that look before. She was scared. I've done this job for 10 years. I've seen it before. It's the politician in the motel room with the dead hooker scenario. Only in reverse.
Good analogy, boss.
You don't get to talk yet, Shanky. You're still on the bench. And you keep taking it easy too, Angus. We went upstairs. Sure as day the Merc was dead. And there was a bullet hole through the window. Fucking dirty sheets and bottles everywhere.
He means they'd been fucking?
Tibbs patched the window. And the corpse. We hanged. Nah, he's my brother. He's in the window.
Tibbs. That's short for...
Yeah. Good man.
Bet their father's named Atticus Hardy. Lucretia Hardy would be their sister. Anyway.
You may have noticed our girl's in some shit of her own. They can't show up on police radar kind. There are people after her. From the old world. Where she came from. They're powerful. Connected to the moral intern. She's clearly afraid for her life. Says if she showed up in your systems, she'd be ghosted.
That's all he knows. That's all she's told him.
And why would you help someone like that?
Why would I? I guess we abide all sorts of runaways and losers here. It's a Martinez thing. In a manner of speak.
Remember the 2 girls? He may be talking about the other one.
That's right. It was her idea to hang him. I liked it for political reasons. It sent a good message.
The big guy turns to Glenn, who's about to say something. The blonde shuts his mouth before a word is...
I'll say it again. All the Hardy Boys are right here, cop. That woman is just affiliated with the Hardy Boys. You don't know her, anyway. Nope. You're not getting to her. It's Klaasje you want to talk to. You do that. Hey, cop. Before you go, Klaasje, came to Martinez to hide. Many of us did. This is where you wash up when there's nowhere left to go. The Union takes you in. Now, she refused that protection. But
still, after all this headache,
That's right. If we didn't take care of the people who end up here, this place would just be a couple of ruins and some cargo containers.
We'll take that into account.
It's always good to see you.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired, consigned to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come.
I understand.
Just like that. No resistance. Her shoulders are slouched, her feet long and straight.
I knew there was a chance you'd get them to tell you. It's what you do. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for wasting your...
This is good. Clear the air first, between you two. No, it's not good. It's the opposite of that. This will let her dictate the terms of your... Shush, I can't hear what she says.
If you knew we would find out eventually, why did you waste our...
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into.
Is she implying the Hardy boys are the law?
I know that. But the people around here, they don't see it that way. And if I am to stay here, I need to get along with them. You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
Briefly glancing over her shoulder to the sea. As she's done time, a grand expanse of water reaches over the bay and to the horizon. Wine dark in the Pale, the Muindi Isola, the Occident, and then Oranje, the old world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. Just business, but bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me.
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern, well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me.
Fucked? People after her? Moral intern people? Here we go. For once, you seem to have her off guard.
It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not
What exactly?
industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired.
The job was Lou's County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Lou Scott conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them.
But she really destroyed them.
As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too. Along with Lou Scott and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit...
Lowe's cap. These people engineer financial disasters in second world countries. The conglomerate also includes the Bank of Consecration, Airbird, and the popular Papalolo line of dairy products.
Yeah. Papa fucking Lolo wants to kill me. It is. Many people lost their jobs. Not just C-suite. Ordinary people. A lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with.
That can wait. Look into her eyes. There's more.
One of them killed themselves because of me. How do you deal with anything? It's all just... How do you do it? There you have it. The way of the warrior. I did. I also had a side job selling insurance that I was really good at. Got picked up by a bank. After that, I sort of, transitioned out of the whole culture scene. We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open. Dumb. I could see. I could...
Her chest rises and falls with each...
I knew he was dead. But...
You were right. He did enjoy the moment of his death.
He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one. It never came. So am I.
She throws it away, and it...
What time was this? When did it happen?
11:30 to 12:15. I don't...
It's okay. What?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things.
Wait. Titus said she was gurning her jaw off, much more than usual.
Did you hear or see the shoot?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore, so I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway.
Run, woman. Run past them and out into the streets where it's dark and people move. To the lorries at the intersection, as far as you can.
I already ran. I ran from an entire Isola. I can't run any further. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew.
Ruby?
Ruby.
The leader?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of.
This Ruby, in her phrasing, is entrusted with great power. She trusts her. So do...
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, but I can't leave a paper trail. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know. Take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do. Make it look like a hanging. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while. That we should... I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Interesting. Why did this Ruby go through so much trouble to hide something someone else did? What are you doing? Coming up with a theory. She said Ruby knew something was wrong before she said anything. How come? It was loud downstairs. She couldn't have heard the shot. It is ominous. You already coming up with theories that put the blame on someone other than Klaasje.
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding. What? Why would I put myself through this? Insanity. Get myself... He wouldn't have died if it weren't for me. I know that. But I would never...
It could have been a desire murder. He was a serviceman. He must have had a gun. Somewhere, lying around, close to her hand. Now, you guys suddenly have theories pouring out, when they're obviously just stabs in the dark.
Like what? That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me. Or I don't know anything anymore.
We can't go after Loose Cap. Not yet.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing because I'm an idiot.
Which is an indicator of truth, idiot. She's nothing of the sort.
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker threw...
Her jaw is clenched. Her throat moves. It takes all her strength not to cave in and...
He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud. Thud. So I called you. I hope with all...
She definitely called the cops. That was task complete. It could not have been a lie. That is... Oh God. That was a lie too. Who made the call then? She did, of course. Don't be paranoid, man. It's unbecoming of a police officer. And it makes you sweat.
Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
You should have a look at that window. Reconstruct the scene. It's right here. Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye. She nods, silently. She doesn't... He's thinking, or should we arrest her? She's a flight risk and she lied to you. She should be taken into custody. No, that won't be necessary. Just leave her alone. She's been through it. This guy won't budge. You have to wake Multiface up, forcefully, if you want to continue pushing her. What? Dear God, you've been lied to. She could have killed her lover and lied to everyone. She's not candid at all. She's smoke and mirrors and will-o-wisps. She probably didn't give you her real name either. Why would she? Arrest her immediately before she further entangles you in her. Take it easy. Don't overcompensate with this course. Yes, start at the top. Choose at the bottom. It's how we've always done. See?
I did. What is this? I called your desk or whatever it is. The numbers are all over. There was an older woman on the other end. It sounded like she was smoking.
That is the emergency. Anyone could know that, sire, by looking around and calling the desk. I don't believe...
What time did you make the...
Thursday night. It was late.
It checks out.
But I know the time of the call too. I know I have not been 100% truthful with you officers, but I am now.
I agree. You wouldn't give us your real name, not when people are after you.
Okay. Okay, it's not. You log your work every week. It's all transmitted to Common, sir. I couldn't just beg you not to enter my name. So I lied before. Like I did at LCSB. I have to lie all the time. I'm so tired of it. No, it's submerged in a plastic buoy on the coast, in the reeds. It just doesn't say Klaasje Amandou. It says Anouk Mea Smit.
Falsified documents?
Passport and visa. Given to me by my employer. I can't even use them. My employer probably leaked the name, Mea Smit, to hurt me.
Why would they do that?
I didn't show up to a rendezvous. They don't take that lightly. I didn't show up because I was afraid they'd do something to me. The job was...
She fears an arrest right here and now. This has been an awful turn of events for her.
West of the boardwalk, in the reeds, on the coast there. I put it there when I first arrived. Haven't been there since. I'm not sure I could even find it now. It's useless.
lieutenant makes a note of it.
You're welcome to it. It's in the reeds northwest of here, past a broken sewage pipe, right near the... It's Katarzyna Elysium.
It's a Grad name, Jimsk or Yugo-Grad in origin, not Occidental at all. Smells of motor oil, tiger, economic desolation, and rock music-infused alcoholism. It also makes Klaasje almost an acronym for Katarzyna Elysium.
It was a sentimental thing. I want it to be more me here, this time.
A nickname? Who gave you this nickname?
A teenage boy, 1,000,000 years ago. My parents were Zhimsk immigrants, but I'm nationalized Oranese. All I remember is Oranje. Elysium is my father's name. You can call me whatever you want. I am. They can never take my sash and my scepter.
Yes, they can, for lying. She nods, her back straight, ready for whatever is next.
There may be grounds here, at least for an extended detention.
She slowly lights another cigarette and steadies her breath, as if in the presence of some tiger.
Lies.
Yes, we demand she be punished for deceiving us. We demand. She slowly. The same small, heavy door is barred from the inside. You hear the bar rattle in the This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo, smooth as ice. There are spots of mud and rain on the outside, even smudges. But the surface of the window is clear from the inside. No chips, no hairline fractures. Following your lead, the lieutenant leans in closer.
Looks like it, yes.
You know which window has not been recently replaced? Yes, that one. Cold wind is seeping in right now. Just one floor below you. Messing up your concentration here.
Stop distracting him! He has work to do! Plus, if I recall, the window has been giving him shit ever since he got here!
Golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. A two-hearted spider. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain. From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole. Shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. There could have been. Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago. 72%, with a weapon that's good for medium range, like a rifle or sports pistol. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies. Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, Detective. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet, Detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. 700 meters away, the likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 1 kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinez perhaps. There are islets there, badly charted as the shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme and access to the islets is questionable.
From where, precisely? I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance? Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version. A simple hypothesis can be wrong, but it's something to build on.
Two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman having sex. A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking...
Yes?
It's you again. What is it? Why? Sounds like you're making her a suspect in this. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral intern steamroller.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it works, guys.
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory. I don't want to be rude, but we're trying to get some R&R here.
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. We haven't even talked to the company rep yet. We should do that. She's on the pier, I believe. Maybe the Wild Pines has help to offer if they want. Maybe not. Either way, we'll have a case against your Ruby soon enough.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. A thick layer of graffito cup that's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts. Lanky weatherwall. You know this to be the star of Periconesus, or the Cairo. The church looks old and weatherworn. There are no... The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded marks are too degraded to draw any for it. They look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. Yes, the one that happened half a century ago. Those bullets were fired during the revolution and do not warrant an investigation by officers of civil law. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective.
promising, right? The dented yellow mailbox. The box seems happy. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me?
Logic error. She...
Pig's come to take me out! Trying to snuff me out! Then why are you sneaking up on me like that?
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have you knock silently.
I guess no one is in?
The door is slick with rain. You don't hear any movement inside.
Let's be honest. This isn't what I joined the RCM for, but every day tells you something new about yourself. Apparently, working with the local union boss to get info on an investigation is not something I'm squeamish about. I mind that the local thug is using the RCM for his busy work. But if this gets us to the bottom of this hanging, then I'm willing to look over it. On the other hand, we could just leave and tell Evrart we opened the door. No one seems to be tailing us to see if we actually did it. Yes, presenting a fabrication is known to get results here and there. You took this task. You make the call.
The door is right here. You could... Besides, if you never open it, you're never gonna find it. I don't know. You're a pretty good liar. Are you as good an infiltrator as you are a liar?
So much for a quiet smoke. I knew I should have quit.
There must be another way into the building.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
There's no trouble. I'm just speaking in a lowered voice. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important? All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I can tell that you finally got him down. Thank you. It was quite a disturbing sight, even by Martin.
What were you doing?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you. Some more muscular.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
A downy blanket of white to cover up the miserable poverty of the scene.
You didn't answer the question.
I had a friend over. He was my Sunday friend.
Makes sense. Friends are nice on Sunday. You don't have to work. You can just spend time with pals, watching rugby and drinking beer. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the dull and darkening sky, the neighboring windows.
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice?
Ask him again.
And I really need to finish this.
But he hasn't left yet.
Help you? No, sorry, gendarme. I have to run. No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from the distance, hidden behind the curtains. For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline eyes. Compassion and a hint of understanding. There's snow gathering on his hair and on his shoulders. A speckle of white against the purple that hangs loose on his slender frame.
I am sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for.
But, hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers, as though gesturing towards a stone placed right next to the front door. It's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over there. If we find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
A stone, like any other, lying in... There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments and the man can be in any of them. We'll just have to go in and see.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Hey, up here, Piggo. The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue d'Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
She's grown frustrated with her work and welcomes the opportunity to a brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism.
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from... I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the... I thought I'd mix it up, you know. Summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here though. Just union cads.
She wants it to be something true and total.
Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approve.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building. The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred? Disgust? It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershaw. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinique.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon. I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time! No. That's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told... I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM...
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you...
There's a trace of irony in his voice.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
Why, yes I am. The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
The word "it" feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
Okay. How about Cordelati 19? Why? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordelati, and its hull is...
She makes a point of being unromantic about it.
Why Dolores? Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the factory name. But thank you for the suggestion. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop, I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down. Charge. You've got the guns and the ammo.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified...
Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Your synapses flesh.
Okay, it is anti-centennial. I assure you, they drove quite a hard bargain for this space. But you're right, I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably...
There is no shame in her voice. A touch of sadness, yes, but no shame.
Oh my. The
Detective.
Then what does that 33A? This old prole... Yes. Anyway. Good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Wild Pines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour. Even before it was part of Revachol. Long before Terminal B was erected here. The Pines built it as a resort for its a company getaway. For a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence.
The octopus that straddles Revachol, the Emergencies Act, is the cornerstone of post-war Revachol, inseparable from the world it created.
Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world.
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
No way. She's more. She can make this.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Oh, so you've met him. Has he begun?
My colleague has his peculiarities. Let's not go into this particular...
Of course. To each their own. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you...
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on Saturday.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior...
This isn't the first time the union...
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more...
ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the...
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the Union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge number.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will...
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't. 'Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists.
You mean someone stole your badge? I don't, in fact. I'm afraid what I need to tell you is wholly unrelated to art. I really need to discuss it, however, with the RCA.
Unbelievable, sire. Even the performance artists didn't work. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. They're nearly as...
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. Some kind of... I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by...
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is...
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her. Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse. This isn't some side gig for me.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something...
You're doing it, despite your own best effort.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RC. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lot...
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Like a... Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200... That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. A little. You make money. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer. Sure. And has it been easy? Are you rich? Get out of here. You're a pauper. You work harder than anyone. Almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still, because of the taxes. G-Man's on taxes almost non-existent in the Gossamer state that is Revachol. You and I both, but they got the 98% of all your money. Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along. Or she's simply an adept.
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
I'm sure you will, Detective. Yes, knowing this does not really change our position, however. No, if there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, what I propose is, we ask her, then we invest. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your budget...
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of it. I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her. Easy. Just offer her a favor. Like I said, nice and dirty.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes. The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge, though if I may be...
Detective, a word in private before we can... This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and you know, not volunteer us to be her henchmen. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about you.
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
I'm sure you will, Detective. Yes. Knowing this does not really change our position, however. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must... What I propose is, we ask her, then... Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is locked.
The situation might have changed drastically.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the Bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
This reality?
Yes, an experimental side case.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective.
Are they now?
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then.
Alright, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez. Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial hub. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province. A workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the Reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités, vast, lukewarm, and unknowable.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value and to humanity at large.
Revachol? The great...
As if it's self-explanatory. Beyond...
History, detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our century. The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile-Marat, depending on your creed. In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deep. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is. Oh, we're quite a way off. About 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom.
Silence. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing there is no recognition. Only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence. This is one thought you need.
Was there something else you wanted to know?
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask. About it, might I suggest not asking them all right now? Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow.
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
Six kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog, licking. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila?" "Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. Slowly, we always do.
You? You're an officer of the RCM. Preciso Mundo. Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
He's being sarcastic.
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin. The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, three pieces of legislation keeping the city in a let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of...
All three are good to know when we are out policing.
There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps yet. On the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative.
That's somewhat of an exaggeration. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial. Ravacholians get to keep the peace in Ravachol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help. These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late. For the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing intra-species warfare. No. I would say the apes were neutral. On the other hand, those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
She's not gloating. It's a...
Oh, and the anarchists too.
She likes the totality of it.
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes, the Red Deluge. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes, King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down, him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective, or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when...
We? She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding.
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, at least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean. The turn of the century revolution? The revolution began in 02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease. It made people overthrow their governments. Indeed, Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic...
It was a funny time in history. They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in 08. Why? You and I, officer.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the city...
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-islary communication.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as the 30s. Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time.
Then you happened. Your youth in the all that untaxed income must have fueled the new. That can only mean one thing.
Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. Welcome to reality, baby.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away.
We could have had so much more. Every one of us. If only we'd played it right. Good question.
No, her first.
And I asked you, past-less detective of the Citizens Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you? So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago? Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort... When they failed to step up, Mazov and his party stepped in.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position.
And what is your official?
There is curiosity there that goes unnoticed.
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position.
Understandable. Good question.
No, her first.
You and everyone else. But that's got nothing to do with preventing the revolution. Good question.
No, her first.
So a quarter of humanity. Simply a poor remedy for prion disease. That was the attitude of most of the more moderate Capri, Resplendent, both gone now. Those that
Opinions.
And what?
There is
my position.
Understandable. They are what they are, anyway. Enough sentiment.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing it.
An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind. Haven't you heard? I am a nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. One of those who pushed the king under a shitwag. We surrendered the nation to financier pirates. No sane person identifies as ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. I can see we're not so different, you know. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled my...
In her green eyes you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Forgive her. But only because you like pearlescent teeth and those light green eyes.
I do hope so. I do hope we're able to remain collegial despite it all. Tell me, when you look in the mirror, when the dust settled, the Liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps
An appropriate warning to those who cross the line and pull the city into madness.
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beach.
She realizes her small, cold fist.
Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than...
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on...
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself. And the crown on your head as you lay in the casket.
Perhaps.
You're no dummy yourself. And the crown on...
Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patron.
Seditious talk, man.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother. And a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? Nothing more nor less than the
Yes, we are the rebel.
He's being sarcastic.
Yes, that means not de jure. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me, and if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. More lessons in basic reality? Glad to have been of assistance.
Yes?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare? Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have corruption? That's how he's done it.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt verm. How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious?
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting.
Yes, your disgusting necktie agrees completely. Let's gossip.
Oh.
The lieutenant looks at you. He's able to contain the act. When I said be wacky, I didn't mean wildly, gross.
Unconventional police officers sometimes lose their guns. They then go around and tell people about this, to gauge their reaction.
Incredible. Simply incredible. And how is it going? Has this detecting produced a gun? Well, maybe he's not as helpful as you thought then. Of course, Detective. Should something come up later, down the road, don't be... Until then, is there anything I can help you with?